So to get started in this mod, you're going to need some extra resources such as iron, some gold, some diamonds, some silicon. You need some glass. You're also going to need a form of power, and preferably a pulverizer or sag mill, anything that can basically create a dust. And you're also going to need to be able to make 2 sticky pistons at the minimum. So let's get started. On the left here we have some certus quartz, and on the right we have our charged certus quartz. The charged has an additional pixely effect given off, and in order to get started on the mod you're going to have to find yourself some charged certus quartz. The certus quartz itself is relatively common, the charged is less so. And once we've broken these down, you see the crystals are just slightly different in colour, but the charged has this effect on it. So after you've gone and broken down your charged certus quartz, you should have a piece of charged certus quartz crystals. And what we're going to do is combine this, dip it in some water with our nether ore quartz and a piece of redstone, and you see some particle effects, and it's going to give us back in return 2 fluix crystals. So we can use these fluix crystals to make the charger, which I've just got powered from behind by a furnace generator. And what we can do is take our certus quartz crystals, right click on it, and you'll see it says contains, and it changes from certus quartz to charged certus quartz, and we can just go and right click that straight back out, and that will give us back pieces of charged certus quartz. Another block we're going to use relatively frequent throughout the starter of this mod is the quartz glass. We're going to go and make it by using either nether quartz dust or the certus quartz dust. You can get from grinding down both nether quartz, or you can get the certus quartz from charged or regular, and it's going to give you 4 pieces of glass. You can get the dust from just throwing it into such things like sag mills or pulverizers. Our next 2 blocks are the energy acceptor and the energy cell. As you can probably guess, the energy acceptor accepts energy from other sources and puts it into the energy cell, which stores up the energy and can distribute it throughout the AE systems. The energy acceptor is made up from 4 pieces of iron, 4 pieces of the quartz glass and a fluix crystal, while the energy cell uses 4 pieces of fluix dust. That's just used by pulverizing up your fluix crystals, quartz glass and certus quartz crystals. So over here I've got a capacity bank with an energy acceptor on one side and the energy cell, which you can see is receiving power and fully charged, and the other side I've just got the energy cell. You can see that the energy cell cannot function and pull energy out of the capacitor bank. Next we have the cables within the mod. We have 2, the quartz fibre and the ME glass cable fluix. The quartz fibre is the most basic, made up of 3 pieces of certus quartz dust and 6 glass. The quartz fibre will only allow power to be transmitted through itself, not any data or information. This is why we need the glass cable. The glass cable is made from 1 quartz fibre and 2 pieces of fluix crystal. It gives you 4 back. These do interconnect with one another, like so, and with the ME glass cable we can actually go and dye it by using vanilla dye that gives us our coloured. So there's 16 different colours of glass cables, which is very useful, as different coloured glass cables won't interconnect with each other, but they will all connect with the ME glass cable. So just to show you what I mean, I've got a piece of the regular glass fluix cable here. I can attach a line piece on one side, a cyan piece on the other. I can also go and connect a glass fibre onto each of these, and then if I use the fluix cable here, you can see they're all connected. If I had something here that transmitted data and an output on this side, an output here and an output over here, the cyan output would receive information, the lime output would, but as I've got 2 pieces of quartz fibre here, this glass cable won't receive any data, but it would be powering the unit. So let's go and put in the lime cable and the cyan again, and if I go and put another piece of cyan in here, you can see they're not connecting. You can't click. For the next part, we're going to have to move away from this test world. You're going to have to create a meteorite compass. This is made from using 4 pieces of iron and 1 piece of charged certus quartz. And like I said, I can't really show you in here because it's not working. But this will come apparent in a second. We're going to have to try and find these. They're called presses, and there's 4: a silicon press, an engineering press, a logic press, and a calculation press. And you need to find these in meteorites, and this is why we have the meteorite compass. So I'm here in a regular world, and I've got my meteorite compass, and you can see it's pointing me in a direction. Now the aim is to find meteorites. These are normally huge, massive, spherical structures that look like they've fallen from the sky, creating huge impact holes, and you probably stumbled across them. They look like this, and you probably thought, wow, cool, and then you tried to mine it and got bored because they are just ridiculous to mine. So what we need to do is try and find a chest inside it. Now you probably want to go in through the middle, through the top, and mine down. They're normally hidden quite well. There you go, you see? I right click inside this. Unfortunately we found one, which means if you're in the same boat as this, you're going to have to go off and find the following at least 2 or 3 more meteorites to be able to find all the 4 presses. Alternatively, you can copy them with blocks of iron, but as long as you've got someone else who has all the presses. Okay, so I'm guessing after a while you managed to find all 4 of the presses. Now, what do you actually need these for? Well, we're going to use these in the inscriber as shown in front of you. To make this, we're going to use 2 sticky pistons, 1 flux crystal, and 5 pieces of iron to get 1 inscriber. Once again, I just have this hooked up through a creative energy cell at the back here, and what we're going to try and do is use these presses to form printed varieties from these 4 materials, and we have silicon, diamonds, gold, and pure certus quartz crystals, which I'll show you how to make in a second. And then what we're going to do is, once we've got these 3 here, the logic, engineering, and calculation, we can combine it with a silicon and a piece of redstone to get our calculation processors, our logic processors, and our engineering processors. In the inscriber you can see you've got 2 slots here that go into, it looks like 1, and then come out again, and this is your output. In these 2 slots we can put our presses, only 1 at a time, but it can go in either, and this here is where our material goes. And what basically happens is it uses the press to form this into a printed shape, like so. And what we can go and do next is combine these with either our engineering, logic, or calculation, like so, and a piece of redstone in the middle there. These can be either way, and it will give us a processor as an output. So a basic automation of this inscriber, you can just use hoppers and some sort of pipes to put in and pull out. I've used the extra utilities with transfer nodes. So the inscriber has 3 input areas. It has through the top, through the sides, and through the bottom. And you can also extract through the sides or front. So once again, I've just got it powered through the back by an energy cell. I'm using creative ones. And you can see here that this comes in through the top, the bottom slot comes in through the bottom, and this one here can come in through either side, and you can extract through the top from the side as well. So what we're going to do is chuck in either of our printed circuits. So let's just throw the engineering ones into the top, and that chucks it straight in there. And in the bottom, we're going to just chuck the silicon ones in, and you can see that I placed it in here. And in the side, we're going to put our redstone, and that's going to place it in here. And you can see it's going to charge up, it's going to create the processor and get pulled straight back out again. Okay, so back to the pure certus quartz. How do we make it? Well, what we're going to do is combine a piece of certus quartz dust with a piece of sand. That's going to give us 2 certus quartz seeds. Now what we can see here, it says this item won't despawn. That's because we need to sort of mature and grow this seed into our pure certus quartz, and you do this by leaving it in some water. If you do this just water, it will take several hours to do, which isn't fun when you want to be getting going. So you want to go and create yourself at least 1 crystal growth acceptor. So first you're going to have to make a fluix block, shown here with 4 pieces of fluix. and use that with 2 of the ME glass cables, 2 of your quartz glass, and 4 iron. Just get one of those and some of those. So over here, I've got a setup of 5 crystal growth acceptors. So when you use these, guys, you're going to place them down like so, and where this crosshead is needs to be facing into the water, so the water block will be here. Now the ME glass cable can't go into the side of these, but it can go into the top, so in this situation you'd have to run your cable underneath like that to be able to give any power. So this is what I've basically got set up here. So what we're going to do is throw these 2 seeds in like that, give it about 3 minutes, and they will eventually, or not, you can see how quick they were. They were already on 2% after I've thrown them in that quick. 4%. Let's just actually leave these in this time, shall we? And come back to those in a sec. The illuminated panel is a component that's going to be used throughout to make our interfaces. We go and make the illuminated panel by using 3 pieces of quartz glass, 2 glowstone, 1 redstone, 1 iron. That gives us 3 illuminated panels back. As it stands, this panel just simply illuminates and gives off light. To be able to be useful, we need to make some cores. We've got the annihilation core and the formation core. Each core uses a logic processor and a fluix dust, though the annihilation core uses a piece of nether quartz, while the formation core uses a piece of certus quartz crystal. So once we have one of each, along with our illuminated panels, we can go and make our ME terminal. Now this is our basic user interface to be able to access our AE system. As you can see, we've got a search bar, and we will have a list of all our items, and we've got tabs here in order which we can style our output. So let's have a look. So to make this, we need one of each of the cores, a logic processor, and an illuminated panel. That gives us one ME terminal. And going back to the coloured cables, this is what else we can do with them. We can use them to alter the colour of our outputs. Now each one of these is a ME crafting terminal, and all I've done is just put it onto a different piece of the cable, and you can see that it alters the colour of the interfaces. Okay, so we're just going back over to our pure certus quartz crystals, and you can see here that they are completely done. So if you are running low on certus quartz, what you could do is grind it up to get 1 dust, combine it with 1 sand to get you 2 of the pure certus quartz. We're getting closer to the end, and you're going to have to make a decision now if you're going to want to make an ME chest or an ME drive. The ME chest is almost like a standalone. All it needs is powering, and it has a slot in the front there for 1 cell, compared to the ME drive that has a slot for 10. You might be thinking, well, ME drive every day. The ME chest does have its own terminal on the top, which I can't read at the moment because it's not powered, but that's what you use to access it, so it's sort of an all-in-one built system. The ME drive, you will need to wire in a ME terminal, which I will show you in a second. Let's have a look at how to make each though first. So the ME chest uses an ME terminal, which we just created, 2 pieces of glass, 2 glass cable, 2 iron, and 1 piece of fluix crystal. So not too expensive. The ME drive, we're going to use 2 engineering processors that are formed by using the diamonds with the silicon and the redstone in our inscriber, with 2 pieces of the glass cable and 4 pieces of iron that give you 1 drive. So what goes in here? Well, let's look at the storage of them next. What we have here are our storage devices that we need to be using in AE. We've got the 1K ME storage, a 4K, a 16 and a 64K ME storage component, and one of these goes into a ME storage housing that gives us our 1K ME storage, our 4K, 16 and 64K storage cells. So let's have a look at how we make them first. Our 1K ME storage, the most basic, we combine a logic processor with 4 certus quartz crystals and 4 pieces of redstone. If you're going to want to make the 4K storage, you need to make 3 of the 1Ks. With redstone and quartz glass and our calculation processor that we've made from our pure certus quartz, combining it with our calculation press and silicon and redstone to give us one of those. So next we've got the 16K. Once again, you're going to need 3 of the 4K, 4 pieces of glowstone, and the engineering process. That's, remember, is done by the diamond in the engineering press. Combine it with silicon and redstone, that gives you the engineering processor. And then if you want to make the 64K, you have to combine 3 of the 16s, again with the engineering processor, glass, and glowstone. So each one of these can be placed in an ME storage housing, which is 3 pieces of iron, 3 pieces of redstone, and 2 pieces of quartz glass. So to get ourselves the storage cells, we just use the 1K or any of the size storage components with an ME storage housing in a shapeless craft inside our crafting station that will give us our 1K. So you can see here it says 0 out of 1024 bytes used. Now I believe that one item is counted as 9 bytes of data. But it says there 0 out of 63 types. So this means, say if we had a piece of iron and a piece of gold and a piece of diamond, that would be our 3 out of 63 types. As we go up in size to the 4K, you see the 4K holds 4 times more, but it still holds the 0 out of 63 types. It still holds the same amount of unique items. Same for the 16K with 16,000 bytes, and the 64 with 65,000 bytes. So in front of me I've got the 2 basic systems. On the left here I've got a energy acceptor going into an energy cell sitting next to an ME chest. Inside the ME chest I've got a 1K ME storage cell. You can use whatever size you would like. And you can see on the top here we have our terminal, which we right click on, and inside we have our item. Next to it on the right I've got the same sort of setup, energy acceptor, energy cell, this time the ME drive with our 1K storage cell in there as well. Once again 9 out of 1024 bytes used, and then I right click on the terminal and same again. So these are 2 basic systems that I hopefully have helped you to create. In future tutorials I'm going to try and expand what we've done. I'm going to hopefully try and make bigger systems and talk about subnetworking and channels. I'm going to talk about all the blocks within the mod, which are really useful. I'm also going to try and talk about auto crafting and how we go about the auto crafting in AE2, and I'm also going to try and talk about being able to link the mod in with other mods and get them all working together. So I've hoped that this tutorial has been helpful to you, and I've hoped that you have learnt something, and hope to see you again in the future. Thanks a lot.